Okay, now I'm going to discuss starting plants out from seeds. Now, my place here isn't all high tech. It's actually it's low tech. Uh, Sometimes I use a cover over my seeds to make it like a little greenhouse. Sometimes I just use saran wrap. Once your plants start coming up, you might want to have a cover for a little bit, but saran wrap works real good. Now, what's in here, and these have been planted uh, about a week. These are pepper seeds, but as you can see, there's no sign of them coming up. Pepper seeds don't germinate real quick, so you have to plant them plenty of time ahead. And right now, this is February 14th, and they've been in the ground for a week. So I want you to be aware of you have to think about starting your seeds at a point that you're going to be able to get them in at your growing season. Nurseries, they start theirs real early. Now, you can see I don't have a grow light here. This is strictly, it's in where it's climate controlled, so it's heated. I keep the heat about 70 degrees or so for whenever I'm starting these seeds. Normally I just put a couple of seeds and I'll use a seed starter mix. You don't fertilize them. There's plenty of energy in a starter mix that your seedling can start. If you fertilize them, you're going to end up with kind of leggy plants. And I did that last year, first attempt at starting seedlings, and I did a little bit more studying and learning. So keep that in mind. This is my area that I have my tomatoes growing. Now, what I have is just a contraption, some way to raise it up and lower my grow light. This grow light is it's kind of homemade, but it's actually it's a 4 bulb light. Now your grow light needs to be a couple inches from the top of your little seedlings, so you want to be able to adjust the height. Now I have it pulled up a little bit so I can slide this tray out. But anyway, it also needs a timer. You don't want but about 12 to 14 hours of light. You want it to kind of be like it would be if they were in the sun. If you keep it on all day long, it stresses your plants more and they don't come out as good. Now I'm going to pull these out. These actually have been growing a full week. The peppers had actually been just under a week. Now I have 4 types of tomatoes. Some of these tomatoes there's quite a few seeds in one place, and they'll come up, and I'll separate them out. It's not a big deal to separate them. Once they get their true leaves, which is their second set of leaves, then I'll take and separate them out. Now this is way more tomatoes than I need. Each one of these little trays is 50, and a lot of them have 2, and I'll actually separate the 2. Once they get their true leaves, I'll put them in a little bit bigger pot and then let them go from there. But this light needs to be a couple inches from the top. Now these are tomato seeds, and tomato seeds normally germinate in 3 to 4 days, which that's the time that it took these to come up. Now I'll keep them under the light, and I've got them out here in my workshop. Now it's actually cold out here in my workshop, and this might have cooled down a little bit, but as you can see on this thermometer, it's running actually about 65 degrees, and that's kind of cool for tomatoes. But what that does is it kind of gets them to hardening up, and they actually don't get as leggy when it's cold. They're not going to come out quite as leggy, and you'll have good plants. when I planted them inside where I had the temperatures up at 70 or so, the stems were real white. They didn't have the little bit of color to them like this, and they just kind of grew up and fell over. This will make a sturdier plant. I had been doing a little more research, and once they germinate, they can withstand pretty cool temperatures, and the light is going to put out some heat, which it keeps it warmer, because it's probably actually only about 40 degrees or so out here in my shop area, and being on the concrete, it kind of keeps it a little bit more even to ground temperature. So it works out real well. The temperature is just about right, and these should turn out to be some good plants. What I'm using here is, this is a drip pan for a car, a 2x4 foot drip pan, which works ideal. I can put at least 4 trays here under my grow light, and it keeps the water from going somewhere. It makes it easy to water underneath. So set it up. If you get a seed starter tray, you can do that too. Just be aware of how much water you're putting in there. You don't want a whole lot to where it's going to set in it, but like I say, you don't want to water your seeds from the top. While you're germinating them, you maybe want to take a spray bottle and moisten the top so it stays moist, but never pour water on the top of it. Okay, I want to clarify a few things. Now, I am growing my tomato plants outside, but I actually germinated them inside, same as my pepper seed. And whenever I put them out in the cool, it causes them to grow slower, so they don't get leggy. I might have said that in a way that led to a misunderstanding. And I really stress not watering them from the top, because what happens is, usually, even if you use a small watering device, I've used a jug and a hose, you always tend to loosen the roots up. It moves the seed starter around, and so the roots are disturbed. So if you water it from the bottom, once you get it started, as you're germinating, you can always use a spray bottle to keep the top moist. That way you don't disturb the seed as it's trying to grow. But that's why I stress so much about watering them from the bottom. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, just hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you'll be notified, and like it if you do like it. And if you have any questions, just post them in the comments and I'll get back with you.